Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So happy to be here. It is always, always a pleasure to be on with the Wake Up Everybody community. I believe when you guys first started, I was one of the first presenters. I was lucky to be a presenter at an event with Miss Shawnee, and I've just been happy to be a part. I'm a part of this community, and so many people who are part of this community are also a part of the Journey to Wealth community. So welcome, 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 welcome. All right, welcome.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Welcome, everyone. I am so happy to be here with you. I am so happy to be sharing information about Web3. If we can take a moment, and everyone who has heard of Web3, the fifth industrial revolution, and the amazing opportunities that we have right now, if you can take a moment to raise your virtual hand. Lovely, lovely. So I have to say, I speak to the community as often as I can. I often say my North Star is seeing the African community, people of African descent across the diaspora thriving. But it's my personal mission to empower, financially empower women, particularly women of color. And I've been speaking at a number of events. I spoke at a huge event up in Yonkers, I believe. And I think there were like over 60 vendors and over hundreds of people in and out. And I asked the question, how many people have heard of Web3? And it was dead silence. And I asked how many people are actually investing in crypto. And I think maybe no more than 20 people raised their hand. So I feel passionate about being on a mission to have our community have the information and knowledge to make choices about participating in some of the greatest opportunities that are available right now in our lifetime that may look different in the future. So we have a unique opportunity right now. And I know because of our history and just the cultural setup that we live in, very often we don't find out about these things until the 11th hour, until after everyone has already benefited and taken advantage of the huge opportunities. So I am here to get us informed early, to encourage you to spend more time learning about what I'm going to talk about today. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and get started. Okay. So today's presentation is how Web3 can change the wealth narrative for Black and Brown people. Brother Isaiah Jackson wrote a book called Bitcoin and Black America. I highly, 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 highly recommend that everyone pick up that book. And this is a quote from him. And the quote is, "For the first time in history, we have a plan B option to the current financial system, which has seen years, I would say centuries, of redlining, racial discrimination, and other egregious acts by retail banks to the Black community. This space is revolutionary, and I'm happy to be able to share it with you, all of you." Okay, my disclaimer. Trading stocks and crypto and any other securities involves risk. The risk of loss in trading securities can be substantial. The risks involved with trading stocks and other securities are not suitable for all investors. The information presented in this educational material is not intended to be used as the sole basis of any investment decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the investment needs of any particular investor. Nothing in this constitutes legal, accounting, or tax advice, or individually tailored investment advice. I am going to, someone I think said earlier that numbers, it's hard for me to focus on numbers. And I am going to ask everyone, as you are here today, to notice and avoid any negative self-talk. It doesn't help you to show up powerfully in the conversation and hear what is happening here. And there's so much social conditioning around us, I will say, as people, around money and wealth and what's possible for us. And we have a lot of things from our history and our heritage and from everything from parenting that has us in a lot of negative self-talk as soon as we hear money, wealth, and those kinds of things. And I'm just going to ask you to notice it and try to reframe it and be fully present to the conversation. Okay, listen from what you can discover for yourself and be an empty cup. And if there's ever any content that requires being an empty cup, is innovation, the future, what's happening right now to prepare us for what's going to be happening the next 50 years, because that's how it happens. I hear that Brooklyn had a 50-year plan years ago. Some ladies in my community found out. So everything that you're seeing happening right now in Brooklyn, that was planned out 50 years ago. And so you want to be in on the plan at year 1 and 2, not year 30, 40, 50. So I will say again, please just take a moment, take it in that this is innovation. This is planning for the future. You're not supposed to understand it completely. You're not supposed to know everything. You're supposed to take it in and see what you can discover for yourself. And please, please, please type your questions into the chat. And at the end, we'll have an opportunity for me to answer some questions. And I just want to say, again, with innovation, things are new. Old keys, I love this quote, won't unlock new doors. All right, so again, my name is Alicia Holmes. I am a financial educator and coach. I had someone take me under their wings when I was just 19 years old. I was at a party. They asked me the question, I must have been talking about being rich. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? I said, what's the difference? And they said, if you're rich, you'll have money. But if you're wealthy, you have time. They completely and totally shifted a paradigm for me. around what it's like to have financial freedom, financial well-being, great choices and options, and having your dreams, the life of your dreams, and for generations to come happen. And so I learned 3 things from them and that were life-changing. And I want to just share that with our community because very often this information is not passed down to us. And one is that you can't hit a target that you can't define. So wealth was explained and defined as net worth. And net worth is when you take everything you own, which is assets, property, stocks, equity in business, crypto, NFTs, art collection, and you minus everything you owe, credit card debt, car loans, student loans, mortgage, any other loans. And that bottom line is your net worth. So the very act of shifting from paying attention to just your income and revenue to measuring, we accomplish what we measure. Your net worth is life-changing. So that's the first thing I learned. So we all know that our income, revenue, business could go up and up and up, but that does not necessarily mean that you are building wealth. And wealth is the game changer because that income allows you to get by, but wealth is what allows you to thrive and for generations to thrive and give you the opportunity and freedom. So I want to talk about, so let me just say again, say the other 2 things I learned before I move on so quickly. I learned about net worth. I learned to be masterful at how resources flow in and out of our lives because resources are always flowing in our lives. The only place they can flow out of our lives is to, 1, build wealth for ourselves, or they're just flowing to places that are building wealth for everyone else. The last thing I learned was to be an investor and that savings does not build wealth. So armed with this information and the details of this information, I, although working for nonprofits my whole career, making sometimes a third of what all my colleagues and friends made, was able to, by the time I was in my early 30s, build a 7-figure net worth. And by the time I was in my early 40s, be completely and totally financially independent. And so I share this with you from experience, and I get to do whatever I love to do. And what I love to do is empower my people. And what I love to do is empower women. Okay, so I talked about this net worth, and it turns out that there's a state of emergency for Black and Brown families when it comes to wealth. I'm gonna give you these stats. Single Black and Hispanic women have a median wealth of $100 and $120 respectively, and the median wealth for white women is $41,500. And the prime working years, where the median net worth goes up for every single group, it falls to $5 for women of color, and it goes up to $42,600 for white women. Then we have this she-cession that COVID has made the existing gender gap in retirement worse. Is exacerbated an already existing issue. I have to say that during COVID, I had a captive audience. I did many master classes. I was on here, I think, in the beginning of COVID on the Wake Up community, talking about it. It was pay what you can, come and learn out about this. And what I found is 90% of the women who did my workshops were in very poor investments in their retirement account. I educated people on what they should do and to turn that around. And then there's a study by the Federal Reserve of Boston, and I just want this to sink in what's happening right now. That all of the studies are showing that there's it's a state of emergency, this wealth gap, net worth. And so this Federal Reserve of Boston decided to study it in a concentrated way in Boston. And I want you to see what the numbers were when they studied the net worth. Okay. So for white families, it was $247,000. I want you to look at what it was for Puerto Rican families, Dominican, for Black families, it was $8. And so I want this to sink in for everyone, because African Americans, we spend trillions of dollars. So when those funds are flowing into our households and our income, where are they flowing out? Are they flowing out to purchase assets for us, or just making this whole system and everyone in it very wealthy? So the work that I do is to disrupt this wealth gap by providing us with the information and the things that we need to know, like the information I am sharing today that really makes a difference in terms of reversing this wealth gap. So there's also a study, The Road to Zero Wealth, that talks about if the fact that if the racial wealth divide is not being addressed, we're not focusing on net worth and getting the information and learning about innovation technology and getting in the game for things like cryptocurrency, it's on a path to just be zero by 2053. And some people are saying sooner. And then on the other side of the coin is that we are in the fifth industrial revolution. And during the next decade, we will experience more upheaval and create more wealth than we have in the past 100 years. And I'm seeing this. I'm going to crypto conferences. There are young billionaires walking around everywhere. This is a time that people are thriving. You get to create whatever you want to create. The infrastructure is easy and have things flourish. So what's wrong with this picture? If you can just type in the chat, what is wrong with this picture? If we're in the fifth industrial revolution and there's conversation everywhere that we're supposed to be creating more wealth than we have in the past 100 years in the next decade, why is it that for our community, the expectation that things are going to get worse and worse and hit zero by 2053? So we must disrupt that. And what I'm going to share with you today, it's a lot of information. For some of you, you're just hearing it. And I'm just going to encourage you to spend the time to educate yourself more about what I share today, because our very future as a people depend on it. Okay. All right. So the why of wealth building. This conversation is about creating the lives of our dreams. And we have to own that. It's important to make the kind of decision so that you can have the life of your dreams. And one of the biggest costs of not having money handled is that we give up on our dreams and we're not even fully aware of the impact that this has and how it has us give up our dreams. And so what we're doing here is creating a great lives for ourselves, for the people we care about, and also for the community. Another cost of this, and I was in a conversation with a sister yesterday who's doing amazing work, and is because we don't have wealth in our community, so most businesses are funded initially by family and friends. And because very often wealth is challenging in our community, when people come up with a great idea, it very often falls flat because the family and friends all around us, because we're not in the wealth building game, can't just contribute and have things happen. And this is why it's challenging even for us to build businesses in our community. So the why of wealth building, so we can understand money is just a tool. Wealth is a way to have ourselves, people we care about, and our community and generations to come thriving. So I want us to pick a number between 1 to 5. Just do it in your head for a moment. And then I want us to take a moment, being mindful of time, and complete the why exercise. So whatever number you chose was the perfect number for you. And so I want you to answer this question. And if you could take a moment and type it in the chat. And the question is, whatever number that it fell on, if you chose number 1, what do you want to do with your wealth? Non-material. If it's number 2, what do you want to have with your wealth? It could be material. 3, who do you want to help with your wealth? 4, where do you want to go and who do you want to meet? And 5, whose missions could you impact with your wealth? So if you could just take a moment, think about it, write it down, and even type it in the chat.
Alicia, I'd like to assist you here for a bit. You asked a question before about what was wrong with the picture as far as the wealth distribution. And there were some responses. There are some responses here in the chat that I'd like to mention to you, or share with you. And Zakia, going up to, first comment came from Zakia, and Zakia said, we must wake up or die. Tina says, we're not aware and are actively engaged in it. Jackie says, our community is not educated about this and we have poverty mindsets. Adam shares, our community focuses on the wrong things, such as celebrity gossip, negative thoughts from some of us in the community, negative thoughts from some of us in the community. And one more share here from Shawnee, and Shawnee says, when systems and structures remain the same, nothing shifts for those who have been marginalized and oppressed. We have to individually and collectively educate ourselves and take our power back. I feel like raising my fist on that one.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I love it. 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 And I want to share with you that never before in history, because this space is so inclusive and technology, the way technology works is autonomous or anonymous, and you could just participate on your own terms. There's never been a better time and better tools for us to take our power back. But sometimes what you do is you hide the best secrets in plain sight. And so, yes, I absolutely and totally love that. As often as I can, I write down something that comes to me that's a dream that I want to accomplish and why what I do is important. And it turns out when the most important thing between the why, the how, and the what is the why. So it's often that you could write down, think about, jot down, put it in your phone, type it in your phone, why and what's important to you, because this provides the fertile ground. Your why provides the fertile ground for you to make the kind of strong decisions that it would take to build wealth. And I could say that, yeah, there is a great book around weapons of influence and talks about all the tools that are used to get us to influence us to make decisions. And Black women are heavily marketed to in some incredibly destructive ways. And so if you know your why, you have a much stronger chance of making better decisions and not having other people determine what's value for you and distort it in a way that leads us to have the statistics that we have right now. Okay. All right. So again, having wealth, in essence, the understanding of it is, and this is again, someone at 19 years old cleared this all up for me, gave me a new paradigm, is that what happens is we have income flowing in, and what we do is we spend it and we have more, we exchange our time for income, and then we spend all that income, we exchange more time for income, and then we spend that income and exchange more time for income. And that's the general paradigm. And so what I was taught is you exchange your time for income, you maximize upfront, purchasing assets, investing, and live off the rest. And then you exchange more time for income and you maximize purchasing assets upfront, and then you live off the rest. And you do that until you get to the point that you no longer have to exchange your time for income. because the assets you purchase, the decisions you make, makes it not necessary for you to exchange your time for income. You're building wealth and you're changing the options and opportunity for yourself, those close to you, and generations to come. You're changing the kinds of options you will have, that your people who are dear to you will have, and for generations to come will have, when you get out of the paradigm of always just exchanging your time for income and sending that out to make everyone else wealthy. So the fundamental choice is, you can focus on income and spend it, or you can focus on wealth and start purchasing assets. And this is a conversation about freedom, choice, opportunity. So how do we turn our income into wealth? Being an investor. And so I do an investing masterclass. Some of you here have taken my investing masterclass. I have a boot camp coming up where I do it all. Net worth, master managing your money, be an investor, invest in innovation, because we need the information and the education, this specialized knowledge that just has not been passed down to us. And I ask us not to be too hard on ourselves, because there is a very intentional past that has led us to these statistics and numbers. And I always say, and please take this to heart, it's so important to put the past in the past. And starting from where you are today, get the information you need and make the choices so that the future can look different, so that our recognizable past doesn't have to be our predictable future. We can put it in the past, educate ourselves, and it could be magical what can happen when you have the personal discipline and get the information to do things differently. All right, so there's a vicious cycle that we know of, particularly when it comes to investing and building wealth and giving us the statistics that we have. And then there's the virtuous cycle. So the vicious cycle, you lack the confidence, you fear the future, you don't try, unwilling to try challenges, we have slow progress and lack of success, and it becomes a vicious circle. But then the other circle is success, confidence, willingness to try new things and challenges, progress, success, and just become virtuous. So there are, I call them the 2 C's, the 2 words. If you do these 2 things, you will be in the wealth building game, and you will have the opportunity to take advantage of new information. So I would like everyone to, I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute. To the 2 C's, if you could tell me what two words, again with C's, that we need to go from the vicious cycle to the virtuous cycle. Or if anyone wants to raise their hand, if we could accommodate that, John.
Yes, I was just about to ask for someone to raise their hands to share with us. While we're waiting for raised hands, though, you asked the second question there. You give us five things. The why exercise. We did have quite a few responses in the chat. I don't know if you'd like to hear that. Would you?
Oh yeah, I would like to hear some of them. I was going to go back and read it, but I definitely would like to hear of it. But that is really for yourself too. Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm happy to share them with you. Okay. Why? Jackie says 1, she picked number 5, and she says, I could impact the missions of my children and other family members. In turn, that will impact many others. I have a huge family. Angele, she picked number 3, and she said, our tribe. And number 3 was, who do you want to help with your wealth? Kay Sweetness, she says, who I want to meet. I want to spend time with people who value life in a spiritual way. I want to go where I have never been. I love that. Neff said, she picked number 3, and she said, and I'm not sure if that's a she or him, so let's say Neff said, I want to help build institutions that will last for generations. There are quite a few more. So those are just a few. And I want to go back to a notable mention up here. Came from Tanine, and she said, "We need to be educated. We must educate our money. We must ditch the consumerism mindset. We must learn to trust our own community in order to build together."
Love that. Love that. And what I'm going to share with you today is ways that we can build community in this new infrastructure powerfully and build wealth powerfully. Okay, I love it. So I'm seeing some of the responses. I see courage, community, change, consistency, change. I see a lot of that, confidence. So thank you. These are great, great responses. I'm going to go back to my presentation for a moment. All right, let me go over the 2 C's. And I'd like you to embrace and think about deeply. And the first one is to be curious, not fearful. So what I find when it comes to new information, the first thing we go to is fear. So we get fearful before we get curious. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't want to. No, it's different. I'm curious. I don't know if I hear you could lose money. That's the fear conversation. How are people making money in this space, and what kind of money are they making? Why is this whole new crypto and all of this blockchain, and why is this important? What are people doing with this? Get curious. To do what matters most, we must stay curious. And again, be curious before being fearful. And then I can present a lot of great information. I have lived it. I know what it takes to be masterful at managing your money. There's some tried, true method things that you could do that will have you thriving. There are some, when it comes to investing, there's some fundamental things you need to know. And when you know those things and you act upon those things, it's life-changing. And I make them very accessible. And I know that the whole financial industry makes it seem like, oh, you can't do this on your own. You can't. No, they're very accessible, and you can more powerfully build wealth, hold those accountable if you're for who are managing your wealth, or you could do it yourself. So all of that information could be in your hands, and some of you have done work with me. But then the most important thing is taking action. And taking action means courage. And choosing courage over comfort is life-changing. As a matter of fact, being comfortable with being uncomfortable is one of the best skills that you can learn, because you will be growing. And so curiosity and courage to be in action are 2 of the most important things that you can do. All right, so education, more education equal less risk and higher returns. It is why I do what I do. All right, my next question. Are you playing to win in this game of wealth and life and possibility and freedom and options, and preparing yourself to live well, the people around you to have the information to live well in generations to come? Are you playing this game in this lifetime, in this economic system to win? Or, and I want you to think about this, are you playing not to lose? You know what, I could just cover my bills. I got, I'm comfortable, and, we're just comfortable. Are you playing this game of life right now in this system not to lose? Or are you playing it to win? And I'm being mindful of time, but I really want to stop to hear some people answer this question.
Okay, family, raise your hands. Let us know that you'd like to come off mute and share with Alicia. Okay, we have a hand raised. Purple, join us in the main room.
Yes, hi. I'm not appropriate to be on camera at the time. Pardon me. Just getting ready for work. Good morning and thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alicia, for being here, for returning again. I see that I've been playing to not lose. I have moments, short, I think of 3 different times where I was playing to win and then just self-sabotage, like just stop playing to win and didn't keep going, like literally just went back to safe.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Yes, yes. And, you know, I can't say more that the game of winning and thriving, there's a whole history behind it. And why it shows up that way for us in our lives. And if I didn't have someone take me under their wing at 19, I probably would have just been, you know, doing what everyone else was doing, trying to get a great job, make as much money as you can, you know, just kind of live a fly life and hope for the best at retirement, you know, that game. But someone said there's a different game. There's a game that means you don't have to exchange your time. You can be financially free at any point. You can have the life of your dreams. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to go back and share my screen. And taught me the game of playing to win, being it to thrive, manage your money, focus on your net worth, and invest. Okay. All right. So 2 time-tested ways to build wealth. I'm not going to take the time to have you guys answer this in chat. If you know it quickly, you have an answer to it quickly, you can. 2 time-tested ways. Most people can answer the first way really quickly. Real estate. Real estate is the gift that keeps on giving. My first job out of college was with a small nonprofit, making 1/3 of what all my friends were making. But when I had this information, I was masterful at managing my money, had my little net worth, investing as much as I could. And 2 years out of college, go to an auction, purchase some luxury condo for pennies on the dollar. Had it appreciate, leverage the appreciation. And once I understood leverage, I was taught leverage, I was just sailing. Early 30s, did 4 properties, just thriving. So real estate is a time-tested way to build wealth. There are incredibly challenging statistics for our community about how low the numbers are right now for the number of us who actually own property or own investment property, but that's another presentation. The other way, time-tested way to build wealth, the way you could leverage and have growth and passive income is, and this is something that a lot of times in our community, we're not fully aware of. And that is in buying and holding innovation investments are a time-tested way to build wealth. I just want you to embrace that. And the beauty of it is that you, in the beginning, if you keep yourself informed and you invest in the very beginning, it takes so little and the returns could be so large. And again, I speak from experience. So with the information that I had, when I saw Apple and these little box computers, and I remember I worked at NYU, and Apple really in the beginning went after universities, and they would put these little boxes, and they were a little box. I'm dating myself, with a little man, and they never worked. In the middle, it would break down constantly. And I'm like, this is the future. And when it was $2 a share, I was buying it in the 90s. And I've seen it split and split and split. And I had pulled everyone in my living room, set up an E-Trade account, buy some Apple stock. I did the same thing with Apple, Amazon, Google in the beginning. So when you do it in the beginning, when it's cheap, it is the best decision that you can make. And so we are in the beginning of the fifth industrial revolution. And I can't stress to you more. It takes very little and you build a large wealth. Okay, and here's why. So this example is if you doubled a penny, how much would you have in 30 days? And the number, I'm gonna just give it to you, is over $5 million because you go from 1 cent to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. You keep doing this. By day 18, you're at 1,000. You turn that to 2 to 5 to 10 to 20 to 41 to 80, 25. Exponential growth is the wealth game. I was taught this. If now exponential growth is doubling. So if you watch any financial shows, CNBC, Bloomberg, any of them, pay attention. They'll constantly say, I doubled my money when you double, double, double. This is a wealth conversation. This is what I call millionaire math, a consciousness, exponential growth. So if you look at, let's say day 18 here, you have around $1,300 and you see, oh, I'm going to have to double this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 to 10 times, double it to get to a little over $500,000. Then you could think, what kind of decisions that I'm making to double my money or to grow exponentially? So you could see it. So this 1,300 no longer looks like it's inaccessible for $1 million. Because if you're focused on the doubling exponential growth game, you see, it'll take me 10 times to double that. And I'll be at my $500,000 mark. And let me tell you, once you get there, getting to $1 million, getting to multiple millions becomes much easier. It's a way of thinking. So how do you get exponential growth? You invest in places that give you exponential growth. Real estate, we already talked about, and innovation technology. And innovation, disruptive technology, they're called exponential technology. And it's called exponential technology because you get exponential growth there. The doubling effect that I just showed you, millionaire math. And so, what is disruptive technology? It is, you can't imagine, it disrupts everything. You can't imagine what it will look like in the future. When you get to the future, you almost can't believe what it was in the past. And this is a great picture. I just love this picture. It's from people who wrote a book that I highly recommend called, what is the innovation? Some of you ladies who were in my innovation study group during COVID, we read this book, The Future is Faster Than You Think. Great book, highly recommend it. You wanna be in this game, you wanna see changes for yourself and generations, read this book. We did it every week during COVID. We read a chapter in this book. Women did presentations, learned more about this, had never seen any of this stuff. Life-changing, we bought stocks that have gone through the roof. Innovation technology, disruptive technology, exponential growth. And so here, dating myself, a typewriter. My children found my old typewriter from college and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, you put paper in it. The keys hit the paper and you had, and they're like, wow. It was like, you know, chisel and stone to them, this typewriter. VCR, Walkman, I can't even name them, boombox, video camera. All of these things fit in the palm of your hand. Can anyone have imagined when we had all of this, that it would fit in our pocket? This is disruptive technology. It's game changer, it changes everything. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you what it means if you had invested in any of these technology, invested in innovation technology. $100 in the early years of Amazon, 129,000, just 10K, more than 12 million. $100 early years of Apple, just $100, over 67,000. 10,000 more than 6 million. You could read these, 5,000, over $10,000. Tesla, $1,000 investment in 2010, over 180. This slide is a little old. It's probably more closer to 250. Bitcoin. So I'm going to talk to you because we're going to talk about the innovation technology of today. If you invested just $1 in Bitcoin in the first years, and some people say, no, it's $25, but it's $1 to $25. That investment would be worth over $9 million today. Do your research. Just $1. So the thing about innovation is if you get in early, the risk to reward ratio is huge. To understand that. Very little, and the rewards could be tremendous. That's the innovation investing game. That's where folks are building their wealth. You know, some early investments in Apple, I was doing maybe $100 a month. Stopped buying any clothes. I got excited, maybe increased it a little. At one point, that stock alone had me look in my employer's eyes when things were changing and say, Apple says, I don't have to work here anymore. And so these are the kinds of decisions that you can make with very little money at the beginning. And just to give you a graphical representation, this is what it meant. This is the S&P 500. This is the stock market. And the S&P is not done bad, it's unstrong. But on this chart, when you compare it to what investing in Bitcoin look like, look at the difference, just this $1,000. I just want you to understand that this is $100 million. If you invested earlier, $1,000. And yes, the S&P has done very well. I think this is somewhere about $5,000 or $6,000. And I want you to embrace that, like 90%, some people say 95% of the people who are investing right here, who were they? White men. When we were saying, oh, I don't understand this. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to get involved. Any of these times that we're saying that. And so this game doesn't always have to just be for white men. Because having the information, and I'm going to provide you with some information today, and educating yourself and getting involved means exponential returns when you do it in exponential technology, game-changing, disruptive technology. All right. We are in the fifth industrial revolution. So you have the first, second, third. I'm going to focus on the fourth and the fifth. So if you recognize which industrial revolution you're in, because it's the technological advancements that increase economic productivity, and it is the foundation to wealth creation. And you invest in any of the areas in those industrial revolutions early on, you'll see exponential growth. This is game changing. This is something to focus on and to think about. Empty cup, investing in exponential growth technologies and advancements. So the third industrial revolution, we saw personal computers and the internet. That's, looking at investing in the Apples, Google and those companies. And now the fourth industrial revolution is artificial intelligence, robotics, the blockchain, the information of things. That's where everything is smart, smartphones, smart refrigerators, and crypto. We are actually right now moving into the fifth industrial revolution, and that's something called Web3, responsive 21st century connection of innovation to purpose and inclusivity. So the third and fourth industrial revolutions, they're revolutions, revolutionary, new thinking, new ways of thinking, being around, working, and like I showed you, disruptive. We're now in the fifth industrial revolution. And what happens? If you get in early, you understand it early, and you invest in early, it's life-changing. So I want to talk about, this is more of the third and fourth industrial revolution. We're looking at the internet. What did the internet do? It allowed us to have computers talk to each other and then let us exchange data and information. Excuse me, it's a little noisy in background. I'm in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. And it changed our life forever. The way we're able to communicate and have access to information changed forever. In the beginning, we had no idea where we would be at this point. The blockchain, fourth industrial revolution, is going to change the same way the internet changed the way we had access to information and communication. The blockchain is going to change the way we're able to transact with each other. So what is the blockchain? The blockchain allows peer-to-peer transaction through distributed ledgers across a network of computers without the need for a central authority. The integrity of the contents of these ledgers does not rely on any individual organization, is completely decentralized, but on underlying technology. So now we're able to transact peer-to-peer. Now remember, across ledgers, everything we do is recorded in a ledger. Every bank transaction, you buy something from the store, it goes in their ledger. If you put it on your credit card, it goes in their ledger, and then the bank has to deal with it and it goes on their ledger. So through technology, just like the internet, creating a way to have these ledgers without the need for a central authority, but to have underlying technology, make it so that we can trust that what was said to be recorded is actually true. So Bitcoin was created as the first decentralized currency to run on this blockchain technology. And cryptocurrency are digital assets people use as investments, a store of value, and for purchases. So I would propose to you that to think about this, research and understand it as the future of money. The future of money. So understand, we talked about cryptocurrency and people often don't understand it, but we don't even understand currency. So what is currency? Currency allows us to exchange. It also allows us to store value. So you work 8 hours, you store that value in currency so you can exchange it. And so currently, what gives our currency value? So just to let you know that in the 70s, the US dollar is no longer backed by gold. So what is it backed by right now? It's backed by trust, a system where you have to trust that the government and the banks will make the right decisions. That if they print too much of it, it could devalue it. And the banks, interest rates, all of those things, that's the only thing. We're trusting them to make great decisions. And just quickly, in Argentina, some years back.
Alicia, before
Yes.
you go into your share, I just want to acknowledge that is 8 o'clock hour. Yeah, for that reminder.
Thank you. Yes. So the Argentine government made very poor monetary decisions, and then the currency collapsed, and the only people who were safe at that time are people who had what? Precious metals, gold, because they had a universal value. So Bitcoin is being called digital gold because it is a place that you can store your value that is not based upon having to trust the government making decisions. That is the only thing that our current money, US dollars, fiat, get place that it gets its value from. So with the blockchain, you're able to create a currency that's not based on you having to trust any government entity, but technology as a solution. And it's revolutionary and was created after the major crash of 2008-9 to understand the abuse of power in the hands of very few people who benefited tremendously while the whole world economy collapsed. And so revolutionary thinkers, there's a whole history of this, CryptoPunks, decided we're going to come up with a currency that anybody has access to, that anybody could play with, that's not dependent upon government structures and outside our current financial system, from the quote that I gave you that the brother in the beginning, Jackson. And, you know, let's level the playing field a little bit and not have to rely on these banks and governments. So it's very revolutionary. You're able to have peer-to-peer transactions with no bank or government. It's borderless. A farm in Africa can have the same financial availability as a Wall Street banker. All right. So that set the foundation, the internet, web, industrial revolution 3, blockchain, crypto 4. Now we're in Web 3. And I'm just going to ask you to open your mind. I know that this is a lot of information. And again, we're in the information age, and what you know will change your life and give you options, opportunity, wealth, and all of those things. So I'm just introducing you to something that's big and it's a little complex. So just please, empty cup, open mind. So what is Web3? It's a blockchain-based, decentralized online ecosystem. You transact in crypto and you're more than just a user, you're an owner. We're going from a shareholder economy. Everything right now is the wealth and power is in the hands of shareholders. I always talk about it we all own all these Apple products. We're just users. The people who own Apple stock are shareholders. They have all the wealth and the power. They get to do things like tell their job they want to walk away because they're a shareholder. That's the economy. The Web3 is about a stakeholder economy. So anything built on Web3 won't be owned by a central gatekeeper, because remember, it's running on the blockchain, but it's owned by users who will earn their ownership stake by helping to develop and maintain those services and products, protocols. This very notion of collective ownership will change the balance of power from a select few, as we see it in a shareholder economy, to an inclusive economy for all. This is revolutionary. The blockchain, cryptocurrency, this thing that we say we don't understand, don't know about, is revolutionary. It's changing the power structure, and it's very inclusive. It's being hidden in plain sight, and all we have to do is be willing to learn, educate ourselves, and play. All right, so I'm going to start talking about a few things that are in the Web3 space. The metaverse. The metaverse is a virtual world, a 3D version of the internet. So we know when the internet first started, it was primarily text-based, emails, messages, usernames, email addresses. Then this slowly became more media-based, where you could have photos, videos, live stream. The next elevation of this is to turn the internet experience into a 3D experience. And what that looks like is a place parallel to our physical world, where you spend your digital life and virtual world. It's a virtual world. You could buy and sell products and service there. You could sign and execute contracts. You can recruit and develop talent. Let me move this out the way. Engage with customers and community, among other things. So again, loving innovation, seeing the possibilities and power here. I had a lovely woman in our community who's an artist in the end of 22 present on the metaverse, options and possibilities there, crypto you could purchase. And at that time, a number of us purchased some of the crypto and it went through the roof. My daughter was able to take her returns from this and start a business and buy a car and trucks and all kinds of things from investing in some metaverse crypto at that time. We also looked at property in the metaverse at that time that was anywhere from 1,000. Some of them were like and small metaverses like $30, $40. Those same properties right now are 15,000, 18,000, 30,000. Remember the exponential growth. Remember the doubling of your money. And so now, within even the Journey to Wealth community, we have a real estate group. We're organizing. I'm going to talk about as a decentralized autonomous organization and looking at purchasing real estate in the metaverse and some new metaverses and taking advantage of the opportunities here. Remember, exponential growth. Then I want to talk about NFTs. So NFTs are a non-fungible token. What it actually is, just so it's a unit of data stored on a blockchain that represents a unique item. You establish this uniqueness and turn an asset, anything that you want, into an NFT, and you mint it by just publishing it on a blockchain. It runs through, I like to give people a background. It runs through the software and makes it purchasable, the software on the block that you use to build it on a blockchain, and makes it, this asset, purchasable online, records its price and history of ownership. So this whole certificate of originality, proof of possession, is stored in a blockchain and authenticated. So this is what NFTs are. Let me give you a great use case. Gary Vee, if anyone knows him, the NFT is VeeFriends. And NFTs are about community, utility, and originality. So Gary Vee created VeeFriends, an NFT. It gave you access to any live events and his main live event, VCon, for the next 3 years. Created a graphical image, built utility around it. The utility is it gives you access to live events, made it a ticket, created a community of people who wanted to be a part of this and go to these events. And it's very original. What I love about this space is you get to be as original. Everybody is doing things, are coming up with new ideas, and that you get to be as original as you like. And you know, we have a history of invention. So the more valuable these events become, and he had all these interesting people interested in NFTs speaking at the VCon, the more valuable the NFT becomes. So the NFT has increased in value tremendously. So you could sell your NFT, sorry about that. Okay, so you could sell your NFT for a higher price, or even you could start selling shares of your NFT. Remember, now you are owner. As this community does well and these conferences do well, you do well. You're a stakeholder now. So you could share your NFT for a higher price, or a share of it for a higher price. Then remember, this is all about originality too. So then right before the holidays, he released the book and say, if you buy 12 of my books, you get a free NFT. You get to go to my conferences for the next 3 years, my events. He sold 1 million books in 24 hours. And it was right before the holidays. It was win-win. People bought them for their friends and family, got the free NFT, and were able to spread the message about his work because they gave 12 of his books to friends and family. So this is just an example. If you have a business, if you have an idea, learn about NFTs because it could up-level it in ways you can't imagine. Remember, curiosity and courage. Then you have the centralized autonomous organization. You create these organizations that enable people to coordinate and govern them themselves without having to have some central person, entity. Okay, so this DAO, remember, this is existing in the blockchain. It's new technology. You have a set of self-executing rules on a blockchain called smart contracts. They're a bunch of if-then. If this happened, then this happened, then that happens. So it's coded, self-executing. It eliminates human malaise to a great extent and enables democratization because the technology, these smart contracts, if then, do than that are governing. You decide on what those smart contracts are, you built in the system, you have this organization that runs itself. Open mind here. The powers in the organization is given to each token holder, and it's in the hands of the people running it. Because of that, because of these smart contracts, everybody getting tokens, everybody having voting rights, you can function without a central authority. And it can make it extremely easy to pool resources, collaborate without compromising on trust. So again, talking from experience, we're creating a real estate investment DAO. You set it up on this particular protocol, you give people voting rights, you set up if-then statements that you all agree, and it's self-executing. And this one, we're looking at purchasing real estate in the metaverse. You set up your multi-signature wallets, and you don't compromise on trust because you set up these smart contracts and it's self-executing. Okay, then the last thing, I'm not a gamer. So this is what I know the least about, but people who are in this game, the returns are amazing. And so you could play to earn. These are these games that developed on a blockchain. They're digital assets in the game. You could play to earn and get NFT and crypto and game tokens or popular cryptocurrencies. You could sell them for real currency in various marketplaces. They could be traded for crypto or real currency. And remember, crypto increases tremendously in value, so they could go up in value. People in the Philippines are earning like 1,500 to 2,000 USD a month by playing Axie Infinity. It's a big one as a hobby. And people in Vietnam that just quit their jobs and now are earning living from these games. If you are a gamer, if your kids like to play games, if you know people who like to play games in the Web3 space, it's called P2E, full of options and possibilities. Okay, so these are the opportunities. You could build in the metaverse. I talked, you could own property, you could rent it out, you could have people advertise on it. There are multiple ways that you can actually earn from real estate in the metaverse. You could utilize NFTs for your business. I gave you an example. You can create a DAO, pool your resources and do some amazing things together, create learning communities. And if you are a gamer or even not a gamer, you can consider P2E, play to earn. Or you can really get yourself informed, and I will be doing a crypto camp this summer, and invest in companies that will be strong players where you will see that exponential growth. Okay, I'm just gonna move forward here and just give you an idea of, these are Web3 companies. If you had just invested $1,000 in January of 2021 in Axie Infinity, it would be worth $73,000 now. And a $10,000 investment would be $730,000. So I just want you to look at these numbers. This is what just $1,000 investment. That's less than $100 a month. Less than $60, $50 every 2 weeks. These are the kind of returns that you get investing. You can get in investing in crypto if you pay attention to what's happening, educate yourself, and learn who the early movers are. Okay, so I know the conversations, I don't understand it. It's so volatile. I don't know how to start. I'm afraid I'll lose money. I don't know where this is going. And I want to talk about the play, how that's a playing to lose conversations when you ignore opportunities because you don't understand them, when you buy on hyper emotion, when you're not picking the right investments because you're just listening to, oh, everybody's buying Dogecoin, I'm going to buy it. You're not buying at the right time. You're waiting till everybody's excited and it's overpriced, or you're making uninformed decisions. All right. So being in action, I love this quote, to share it. I always did something I was a little not ready to do. I think that's how you grow. When there's that moment of, wow, I'm not really sure I can do this, and you push through it and push through those moments, that's when you have a breakthrough. Remember, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is innovation. All right. I have a boot camp coming up where I teach everything from net worth, being masterful at managing your money, investing, and then I'm going to do a piece on a more in-depth piece on investing in crypto. And I don't recommend it, but the boot camp only is an option. The boot camp with group coaching, I'll do weekly group coaching, plus you'll have peer accountability groups and all kinds of support. And then I have the boot camp group coaching, a one-on-one session with me, and a 1 year general membership to the Women in Action community. So these are the 3 options. This, I had early bird pricing to $430. I'm extending this just for the Wake Up community. I have a wonderful, wonderful experience. I have so many women in my community that came from the Wake Up community. And so this is a today only special offer. I am not doing this for any other group. And that is, if you register today for the boot camp or group coaching and accountability for the price of $497, I will give you access to the group coaching, the one-on-one section, and a year's membership in the Women in Action community. It is a community of women. We have monthly workshops. You have access to so much information, support. If there are any, I believe there are a few sisters from the Women in Action community, and Shawnee is a member. If you guys could post in the chat something about that community. So for the $497 price, if I see that you have registered today, I will upgrade you for today only to the full package. And with that, I am going to end. If you could please stop sharing, put information in the chat. About the offers. And if I'm doing another workshop on crypto where I'm going to show people how to get free crypto and introduce them to a little more in depth to just the cryptocurrency world on the 24th, and live on the 26th, I'm collaborating with the Delta sorority, and they're organizing a community event that I'm coming to speak at. It's limited seating. So if you want to learn just all about crypto, how to get free crypto, I'm doing that on the 26th of this month. And so if you go to my flow code and you put your name on a wait list for more information, someone will contact you about that. You can, yes, if you go to the site, the Journey to Wealth, the bootcamp site, it gives you the 3 options for signing up. And I know that we had to end just a little early. I have another meeting, but I also do a like a let's chat session where I let people come and ask questions. Yes. I know that this is a time of great opportunity. I would love, I have an initiative. I saw this young white man say, oh, I just onboarded 5,000. It was mostly, you know, other young white men like himself onto the community, and we're thriving. And so that number is in my head. And so by the end of the year, I would love to have 5,000 new people onboarded, cleaning up their women onboarded, cleaning up their finances, and just seeding, getting started in this area. I call it seeding, making the kind of decisions now that'll change the trajectory of your life and people you care about and next generation. So with that, I am going to end.
Alicia, awesome. There's a question posed in the chat that I think is that's important to ask. And this question came from Caroline Austin. And she asks, are you able to pay in increments, or does it have to be paid in full?
Oh, no, it's in increments. So if you go to the site, it gives you an option for paid in full and an option for paying in increments.
Okay, awesome. And how would you like me to move forward? Would you like to go into the closing, your contact information, or
Yeah.
would you like to hear what's in the chat or share it from someone? I don't know. Options.
Okay, so just in the interest of time, I'm gonna have to go to the closing. Again, sign up again. The event on the 26th is for men and women. So, you know, sign up for the event, but I would love to see you guys in the boot camp. You know, it's a different, making a different choices, doing things differently, investing in ourselves. A lot of times we'll spend money on so many interesting things, from shoes to bags to vacation. And this is about an investment in yourself.
Here's your contact information. Could you take us through that?
So this is my phone, Facebook, Instagram. Please, if you enjoyed this presentation, please hashtag me, I think it's called, or just tag me. Say something on Instagram, say something on Facebook about what I am doing, what I'm up to. Share my flow code, Journey to Wealth. Please get the message out there. Just so you know, I support a school in Uganda that's doing, is in a rural area. The brother is doing amazing things. I've been to Uganda. And so any love offerings from today will go to the school in Uganda. So just so you know. Yes. So yeah, so this love offering, love offerings are going to the school that I support in Uganda.
And I'd just like to share your hashtag. I mean, the information there, the quick pay and Zelle. Soul Leadership at, Soul Leadership Development at gmail.com for our Zelle. And Cash App is $Spirit of a Woman. You'll find the hashtag, the link there in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or Zoom. And Alicia's code is 580AH. Here are our love offering and donation monthly automated system. And you can click these links in the chat and choose whether you would like to donate 25, 50, 75, up to $100 to our monthly cause. Keep bringing this great and valuable information to you every week, every month, and 5 days a week. And speaking of that, coming up on Sunday, we have our title, How I Lost 70 Pounds and Changed My Life, Part 2. This will be facilitated by Dion C. Monsanto. So please join us again on Sunday. This is our schedule. We're here 5 days a week. And on Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we're here from 7 to 8:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesdays, we're here from 7 to 7:30. We're always streaming these workshops live on Facebook. And to get your alerts so you never miss a session, you can text Woo Nation to the number 74121. Again, that's Woo Nation to 74121. And you can support in other ways. You can do so by going to our swag store. Visit bit.ly/Woo Swag. You type that link, go to that link, and you can get to see the wide variety of items we have there for you. Choose an item, support the community, and show your swag. Thank you so much. Here are a couple other ways to stay in touch. You can register bit.ly/Wake Up Movement. You can join us on Facebook, bit.ly/Woo Community for a private group where you can watch those replays, or you can join our public page at bit.ly/Woo Nation. We're on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. You can find us on YouTube, bit.ly/Woo on YouTube, or you can email us directly, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. Another way you can support our community is becoming a volunteer. Join our team. Put your talents and abilities to good use. You can click on the link in the chat, volunteer interest. You can email us again at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com, and one of our members will contact you to follow through with how you can use your amazing abilities to support our team. I will now take our screen share down and invite Alicia to her love shower. This is where you, community, get to share your voices and bless Alicia with love.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Alicia.
Alicia, for this great
Thank
presentation.
you.
Welcome, you are welcome,
Much.
you're welcome,
Very
welcome.
great.
Thank you,
Thank
Alicia.
And
Alicia.
have a blessed weekend,
Alicia,
everyone. And let's move forward, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alicia. Bless everybody.
This was great.
Thank you so much for that.
Love you.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. The link is in the
Thank
chat.
you.
I see a question for you to sign up. Please go to my Flow page and you'll see the link to sign up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a blessed one, everybody. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you. Take the plunge, ladies. Come on, join the party. It's fun.